name's Matt, and today we're going to cover one of the most exciting changes of patch 0.3.2. I'm talking about the grappling hooks. Officially labeled as climbing picks, this edition has made accessing previously inaccessible areas a breeze, along with improving travel times, survivability, and even as utility for hunting. So sit back, or rather hang back, channel your inner bionic commando, and enjoy. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoy what you see. Before patch 0.3.2, when you deployed the climbing hooks, you could cling onto surfaces and travel in many directions. The amount of time you could do this was dependent on your stamina. Once you got to the top of a structure, you could simply use your umbrella to glide down back to safety. This was limiting because if your stamina ran out, you would simply fall, and you would be unable to use your umbrella since it was also stamina dependent. With the introduction of the grappling hooks, this has been greatly remedied. No longer does it take forever to climb, as you can simply fire off your grappling hooks and pull yourself to your destination. And while it's still stamina dependent, you can more easily manage your stamina now, as you're not consuming it as quickly. I'm going to go over some important points about the grappling hooks. The first one is kind of important, is that grappling hooks are greatly influenced by the tier in which they were constructed. Each tier level is going to dictate the actual length at which you could launch off and fire off the hooks. So here we have some tier 2 grappling hooks. You'll notice on the rocket it says how many meters of distance I am from the actual rock, right there. So at tier 2, these hooks have about a 5 to 6 meter distance that they can fire off and hook on. So from this distance right here, I'm able to hook on and propel myself forward. But if I go any farther than that, it's not going to let me. I have to be right at that 5 meter mark in order to hook on and move forward, or up or down, wherever you fire off to. So tier 1 and T2 will get you around 3 to 6 meters. When you get to tier 3, that kind of goes up to like around 8 or 9 meters. Any farther than that, you're not going to be able to hook onto. So if we go to 10 meters, you see that we're unable to use our grappling hooks. When you get to T4, it'll increase about 11 to 12 meters. So the biggest and most exponential increase is going to come from a tier 5 grappling hook. When we get to tier 5, the grappling hook can go up to just a staggering 53 meter distance. So as you can see, we're at 53 meters from our original point. When it comes to travel, in comparison to other modes of travel, on average, simply running across a grid square might take about 35 to 50 seconds. The length of a grid square from this point down to this point is around 245 to 250 meters. When using your grappling hooks, you can propel yourself forward and travel around 53 meters or so every time you fire the hooks on level ground. So this is about a 53 meter pull. So that means that we could technically traverse an entire grid square in about 25 seconds or less if we get a couple of successions of hooks successfully. And as you can see, we covered this entire span in a pretty short amount of time. So when it comes to targeting, You can choose your grapple targets with the little diamond targeting cursor, which we see right here. So wherever I point this cursor at, that's going to be where my grappling hooks land, maybe just a little bit to the left of it. You can target and fire grappling hooks while still clung to the surface like I am now. I merely point it this way, and I let them fly, and I'll hook onto the next surface, as long as I have stamina. When you fire off your hooks, you do a short hover, slow motion fall, which comes in handy, as it gives you time to select your next point. Something important to know is that attacking with your hooks will cause damage to structures, like we see here. Using your hooks to climb or cling onto will not cause damage. As we can see, the crude foundation stone has all its hit points intact when I cling onto it, or when I hook onto it. This comes in handy when you're overweight. You can't move as fast. As you can see here, I'm way down by my inventory, and this is about as fast as I can move. But if I use my hooks, I can simply propel myself from point A to point B in my home if I needed to. And I know that my home's not being damaged by the actual action. So even though there are climbing hooks, you can use them to propel yourself forward. I kind of call this hook dashing. You aim forward, kind of towards the ground. And you can traverse around areas pretty quickly like this. Do note that if you have an obstacle in front of you like this boulder, and you try to hook dash past it, you might get stuck behind it. You'll lose stamina and you won't go forward. You can try to break yourself free by dashing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. When you're hook dashing, you can target almost anything you can cling onto. For example, this tree. As long as it's thick enough, you'll be able to hook onto it. Things like walls and structures. One final important point that I want to go over is what I call emergency landing procedures, which will be a common scenario when using grappling hooks. If you're falling, you can fire T5 hooks directly down and you'll be transported safely to the ground and take no damage as long as you have the stamina when you land. So if I were falling like in this scenario right here, I fire off my hooks, and I'll be transported safely to the ground. If I were gliding with my umbrella, and I want to have quick, fast, and safe and easy way down, I could cancel my umbrella and deploy my hooks, and fire down, and I'll make it down to the ground safely without taking any harm as long as I have stamina. I would suggest making a specific pair of picks just for travel and traversal. That way you can save your material more customized climbing picks if you want to make some in the future. I made these climbing picks specifically out of titanium, steel, tier 3 fabled Jotun wood, and tier 3 spider because they all give me stats that help me when it comes time to traverse and have enough stamina and stamina regen. All these materials together give me a 57.1 stamina regen, which means every time I stop and rest, my stamina is regen pretty much almost instantly. And the other reason I made them out of titanium and steel is so that I could have some melee damage, so I don't have to switch out weapons in case I get stopped and I have to fight. Another thing I would suggest would be enchantments for these traversing picks in particular. I would put the Dispel enchantment in case I come up with any Carnutes that I want to farm along the way. I would put the Recovery enchantment so I could regen my health in case I get attacked. And I would put the Track Legend enchantment on there since I'm going to be traveling with these picks and hunting specific creatures. This will come in handy. I would also suggest always carrying around some food that increases your stamina. As you can see, we can make mixed plants out of potato pretty easily, and they give you 65 stamina each. Or if you have the recipe, you can make spring rolls made out of potatoes and wheat, which give you a maximum stamina of 80, and they also give you some stamina regen. Both of these will be very helpful when you're traversing with climbing picks or grappling hooks, since they do tend to use a lot of stamina and stamina regen. Just to show how easy it is now with these climbing hooks to traverse usually hard to reach areas in the past, we have one of those towers at the Abadian's Forest level. And I can simply just hook my way up all the way up to the top now with no problem. Areas like these I can just detach, jump back, and hook on. And these hooks reach pretty far. And when I'm done exploring, I could just jump off. And I could target the ground and just land safely, as long as I have stamina. Having these hooks to traverse the areas make hunting a little bit more easier. In particular, I'm hunting Beelzebors right now. Every time they spawn in a different area, I'm going to mark it with the icon so I can see how far away from them I am. And it just shows how much of a breeze it is just using the hooks to get from point A to point B. Being able to cover so much ground so much faster really does streamline this process. So just in the span of a few minutes, I was able to get multiple kills and rack up a good amount of Beelzebub meat. Well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to share it and to hit like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.